It's a lot easier and quicker if you're here in person, so thank you. The city mandates that we have every volunteer at the booth be briefed every single year, even if you've done it for 40 years. This will be your 41st briefing for the fireworks booth. So my hope is to make this quick and painless as possible and to get you out of here within about 45 minutes or so and call it good. But thank you for being willing to be a part of this, to sign up for the fireworks booth. Thanks, Savannah. And to be a part of this awesome ministry. I just got back from Mexico about 12 hours ago and from the mission trip. So I'm here, but I can't promise anything else other than that. And I'll do the best I can to get you through this. But what I'm mentioning that to say that if you worked the fireworks booth last year, I want to just encourage you and remind you that starting last night or the night before, Friday night, we turned over keys to a family to a brand new house that we built with them in Mexico, and that was paid for by last year's fireworks booth. So if you were part of that, awesome work, way to go. We paid for the other one from the car wash fundraiser and a couple other fundraisers from church. So if you got your car wash a couple weeks ago, thank you for that. But one of the houses was one, if you see pictures of the orange house on our social media, that was paid for by the fireworks booth last year. And in 51 weeks from now, we'll head back down to Mexico again, and we will be building houses with the money we raised from this year's fireworks booth. So you guys are already being a part of impacting lives as you serve, whether it's holding signs out front or it's in the booth, or if you're more the support crew moving trailers around. We need each and every person, and it helps make real change in people's lives. So thank you for that. We also use this money to help subsidize the cost for camp. If we were going to go to, let's say, for example, Hume Lake, when all is said and done with rentals and paying for leaders and all these things, it's probably upwards about $450 per student to go for the weekend. And we typically charge folks about, oh, no, it died again. Sorry, guys. And we typically charge, I'll try to do it from up here. We typically charge people like, I think the starting price is like $325 to go to Hume. So we subsidize camp costs as well. And on top of that, we do scholarships for folks who can't afford to do their own camp. And so it really just does a ton of good work in and around our church and community and even across international borders. And so we are really grateful to be able to do this fireworks booth and that the city offers this as a fundraiser, and then you guys are all here to be a part of actually doing this with us. So thank you for your investment in this ministry, and I'm really grateful that we get to walk through this. So that's the exciting stuff, where the money actually goes. You'll actually also get to apply it to your own camps and things like that. But for today, what I want to do, let me just turn my screen so that it doesn't go off at all. That way we don't have any issues. General, no, where is it? Who knows iPhones or display? Here we go. Auto lock, don't lock. Great. Okay, so what I'm hoping to do in these next 40 minutes or so is just to walk us all through how this all works and give you an idea of what you're getting yourself into, and then also get compliant with what the city requires us to go through. So we're going to go with the FCC stuff first while I have most of y'all's attention, before it starts to just sound like wah, 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 like the Charlie Brown teacher. We're going to go through how this all works from FCC's perspective. And so this is the paper that we're going to be talking through up front. And then we'll be, after that, going into this printed out PowerPoint that the city gives us. So let me just say first, again, thank you. And when you signed up and you registered, and then you also picked shifts. If you did not see a sheet like this at some point in the registration process, come talk to me afterwards, because if you're signed up, that's awesome. We need that so that we have all of your contact information and medical information if there's an emergency or anything like that. That's helpful. But we also need you to pick a shift or shifts. And so if this is unfamiliar to you, come find me. Or if this is familiar to you, but you weren't able to access it for whatever reason, come talk to me after. We'll make sure we get you signed up for things. At this point, you were able to sign up for 5 total shifts. And if you did, then awesome. If After this meeting, you want to sign up for more shifts beyond the original 5 that you signed up for, you are more than welcome to. The reason we limit you at the beginning is so that we give all the people who register a fair shot to claim shifts. Otherwise, it becomes like this mad dash, first come, first serve. I'm going to claim 16 shifts. Doesn't always become like that, but it can. So we want to just keep it fair. And so at the end of this meeting, you're welcome to come on up. I'll just leave this sitting right here on the table, and you can go through and add your name to whatever open squares are left on this sheet. And even if that means you exceed 5 total shifts. Students, if you are working outside the booth, if you're under 18, you're earning $9 per hour. That is below minimum wage, but it is also a fundraiser. But it is also the most we've ever paid people to work out there for the fireworks booth. So that's cost has significantly gone up, just like everything else. Parents, you guys earn $12, and same deal. It's less than minimum wage, but it's a fundraiser, and it's also more than we've ever paid before. And it goes right into your camps and trips and all those kinds of things. As a booth worker, really need you to clock in and out. When you get to the booth, there's going to be an iPad. It'll be in a probably green case, and you're going to walk right up to the window and say, hey, I need to clock in. And the person is going to hand you an iPad, and you're going to take it, and there's going to be 2 big buttons on it. One is green, says in. One is red and says out. When you're clocking in, you want to hit the one that says in, and then find your name and tap it. Make sure you tap your name and not someone else's name, because otherwise someone gets credit for you working, which they wouldn't be upset about, I'm sure, but you would. And then at the end of the day, you're going to click out and then click your name, and that'll be your clock out procedure. If you don't clock in, we can't give you credit for the shift because there's no record that you actually worked. What we will try to do is, as shift leaders, we will try to see who's out there, but there are 25 total shifts, and it's really hard to actually remember who was here when over the course of 25 shifts. So just make sure you clock in and out. That really helps. Otherwise, we can't guarantee you'll get credit for it. And if you don't clock out, just clock out. We'll try to make do. It says credit for only 1 hour of your shift, but that's just, to just reinforce the importance of clocking out. We could probably figure out when you left based on the time that you signed up for. Please be on time. You are getting paid by the hour, but you're actually earning money by the minute. So at the end of the week, your total shift time is going to add up. So let's say you worked 5 shifts, 3 hours per shift. That's 15 hours, but the program actually tallies it up by the minute. So you might have 15 hours and 14 minutes, and you actually will get a little bit more than your $9 or $12 an hour because it tallies by the minute. So be on time. You're earning money by the minute, and then please clock in at the start of your scheduled shift and not before. So if you get there 10 minutes before, that's awesome. You can hang out, get ready, do your thing, and then right when 10 a.m. hits or whenever your shift starts, then you go in and clock in and call it good. While on duty, here's what we're asking. Students, you kind of know what the deal is if you've been here before. We've got costumes that we're put in boxes that I promise to wash before we give them to you. They haven't been washed in like 5 years at least, and some of them are stinky. And so I promise, like that shark head, some of the students know what I'm talking about. That shark head is nasty. So I promise to try to wash them before fireworks booth. But there's costumes, there'll be music, and you guys just get out there. There's signs, and what you guys are, students, you are the people that are catching everyone who drives by eye to be able to be like, oh, there's a fireworks booth there. Now, yes, I'm sure people will see that there's a fireworks booth there if there are no students out there. But what you guys do is you kind of set us apart from not all of the booths, but some of the other booths in town, because what you guys do is we're able to bring in the drivers as they see you out there, and then when the people are actually buying the fireworks, we're actually say, hey, you guys are supporting those students to be able to go to camp and to build houses in Mexico and to do scholarships and things like that. So when you guys are out there just having a good time, holding signs and waving at cars and seeing how many trucks you can get to honk at you throughout your shift and doing all those things, man, that actually goes a really, really long way into helping us boost our sales. We've found that there is a direct correlation between the way that students are participating out on the street versus sales. And so as you guys are more energetic and more into it, we see more people buying things. And then as you guys, I know it gets hot I know those days are long, and sometimes you're the only one of your friend group that's there, and that's kind of challenging. But remembering that we're doing this for a much greater purpose than just ourselves, man, bringing the energy, bringing the hype, because what happens is and I would feel like I would want to do this too, when you kind of lay down with the sign over your face like this because it's hot, and that also has a direct correlation on sales. It's a really sad fireworks booth to drive up to. Like if you're driving by and you're like, wow, look at that youth group, and all of you are like, it paints a picture that isn't necessarily true about who we are. And so just go out there, be yourselves, bring some energy with you, and do it for the glory of God. 1 Corinthians 10:31, whatever you eat, drink, or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Our booth is affected by our positive attitude. The other thing, students, you're here with us, so please stay with us. That is not only for the sake of the booth and the sales, but more importantly for your own safety. We'll give you limits on where you can and can't go. And it's a pretty big swath of area, but please just don't go outside those limits, because if we can't see you, then we can't keep you safe, right? We want to keep you safe, and we'll do everything we can, but if you're like, I'm going to run down 3 blocks and go to Walmart, right? Like, okay, that makes things difficult for us. So we'll tell you where you can and can't be. You're here with us, so stay with us. There is a bathroom on site if you need to be able to use. And last thing, if you're working a shift, students, you are working in the spot of someone who could have worked the same shift. And when your name is limited amount, so when your name goes in, it locks someone else out of that, which is totally fine. You are welcome to do that. That is, how we run this fireworks booth. But just know, I'm hoping that you guys bring some of the energy and the excitement out there, because if you weren't there, there might be someone else who would have wanted to do that, right? And that's not to come at it from a guilt perspective. I'm just trying to paint the reality of how this all works, right? It's much bigger than just the individual. It's about so much more than that. If you're going to be working during a mealtime, please bring your own food. We will have a cooler full of water, but no food available. We used to actually bring meals out during meal times to those who were serving, and then we had this realization as we ran this fundraiser and we're bringing out 3 meals a day, how much money we were putting towards meals. And if you just pack a sandwich and a Coke or whatever you want in a lunchbox and bring that, we save so much money. And I'm all about saving money, but more than that, I would rather our fundraising money go to a student who needs a scholarship or helping out in other ways. I'd love to buy a lunch as well and dinner, but this is not the week for that. So if you're working during a mealtime, please bring your own food. We'll have a cooler full of water and ice and sunscreen, but no food available. And if you're under 18, please don't come in the booth for any time for any reason. If someone chops your arm off and you need a Band-Aid, make the adult come out to get you. Don't go in the booth. And also, don't get your arm chopped off, please. And that even is kind of weird. Like my 2-year-old, who I guess at this point he would start destroying things. But if you have an infant who you have in a little carrier, you're like, why can't he be in here? I don't know. That's the city's regulation. So no one under 18 in the booth at any time. I was going to use that analogy from, like I said, my 2-year-old, but he would actually break things and set things on fire. So, and if you are an adult, we're going to talk in just a few about the City of Santa Maria regulations for things like that. When you're all said and done and it's July 5th and the fundraiser's over and you want to now apply your money to an event, we are going to tally up all the shifts you worked. We have a document with all of your running totals. If you've run the fireworks booth in years past, you've built up a little, maybe a balance, and we'll add this year's money to that balance. And then at some point, you're going to be able to want to go and use that money. Couple things. First and foremost, we can't hold funds indefinitely, because that just winds up clogging up some of our savings accounts, and we have money sitting there. And what happens is some people work the fireworks booth and then move to other parts of the state or world, or they change churches and they have no intent of coming back. And what I would rather do is use that money that's sitting there for ministry than hold on to $120 that someone raised, but now they live in Florida and can't do anything with it. So here's how we work that. We can't hold funds indefinitely. Money that is raised must be applied, or we got to be notified of your intent to apply your money to a camp, event, or trip by July 1st, 2023. So that gives you a little under a year to use all of that. So within that span of the end of fireworks booth to the to July 1st, you're going to have fall camp at Shaver Lake. You're going to have Hume. If you're in high school, you're going to have the Mexico mission trip. You're going to have other events, Adventure 7, a lot of other things to use your money on. So we're just trying to, hey, build up your bank this year and then use it, and then work the fireworks booth next year, and then use it again. So we just don't want to hold funds indefinitely. If you want to apply fireworks booth funds, we got to get something called a raised funds access form. That's just a fancy way of saying fireworks money. And so it's on our website. If you go on our student ministry webpage and you scroll down, you'll see it right there, raised funds access form. You click the link, you do the 3-second form, and then our office team will move all the money around and do all the behind-the-scenes work to get your money onto the camp that you need to actually get it applied to. And the reason we do this is because our third-party system, which we use for our online registrations, it doesn't recognize fireworks booth money as a form of payment. It doesn't, cash and check and card are all great forms of payment in this world, but no one understands what fireworks booth money is. So I can't go into your event and be like, fireworks booth money, unless we have this form that we can use it to leverage and say, okay, fireworks booth money applied to this event. So we go and we get that form and we bypass a few things in the system so that you can pay with that money and not quote unquote real money. But this fireworks money works just like any other money. So if it's a non-refundable deposit for a trip and you need to cancel your trip participation, the non-refundable balance gets withdrawn from your fireworks booth balance. So it works just like real money from our perspective. But, and then lastly, we can apply fireworks booth money towards any event hosted by our student or young adult ministries. We can't transfer fireworks booth money to other churches. So if you are going on a thing to Pacific Christian or something like that, if you have friends over there and God's, doing stuff in your life over there, please, go invest in, go on the camp or do whatever. If you're, we are pro-church cooperation in this town, so all for that. But I just can't use your fireworks money for that camp or for that trip. If you want to go on a Young Life trip, I can't do that because it is money, but it's not quote-unquote real money. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay. Any questions on that stuff? Yes, Curly. Great question. Yes, all money is applied to families. So if you have exactly what you're saying, if you have one sibling that works but you want to transfer it to another sibling, that's totally fine. If you work and then you want to transfer your money to another family, you're also welcome to do that. You just got to let me know. But typically, it works within families, and any family member can apply it to whatever. Cool? Okay, so what we're going to do now is walk a little bit through the point of sale system. And students, this is kind of well, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do the fireworks, this packet first, and then we'll do point of sale. Because after we do this, students, I can just let you go, and you can go to the coffee shop or jump into main service, or you can hang here. But after we do this, I can just let you off the hook because you don't need to know the point of sale system because you won't be using it this year. Okay, this one right here. Hopefully you have a copy. If not, there's a couple more on the ping pong table back there. But this is the Santa Maria City Fire fireworks booth packet for 2022, and it looks just like the one from 2021 and 2020 and 1995. So we are just going to go through that. Sam, who is our intern, went to the meeting of the fire department with each of the booth leaders, and this is the exact stuff that they went through at that meeting. So they want us to communicate all of this to you. A reminder that there are people in our community that want all fireworks banned at all times, and so part of why we're a big advocate for Safe and Sane is it helps and using it within the certain hours, is it helps our community with some of those folks who are more sensitive to firework noises. I have talked to a lot of people who have issues because obviously there's pets who have major issues, but also a lot of military veterans live around here who do have PTSD, and those booms and bangs. There's a few people that even go to our church who I've talked to, and they spend July 4th in a closet because all those booms really set can set you off. And so to be respectful to all people, we really do recommend Safe and Sane and getting away from those illegal ones, even though the illegal ones are way more fun. We are about loving people well and following the law. So highly recommend that for all of our volunteers for this season. This packet's backwards, so we're just going to go through it backwards. But don't worry about that third page. The fourth page tells you that where you can find all of the laws that are related to the safe governance of the fireworks booth. I guess these pages aren't numbered. But I'm on the page right now that says Santa Maria Fire Department permit conditions. Don't worry about that. Our office team will worry about that. But just so you know, that's what it takes for us to have a permit. And the next page is what we would need to do to lose the permit. You will see underage persons in the stand, underage sales, unapproved. So some things that we'll talk about in just a second. But the reason why we're like, hey, don't even bring your infant in the booth is because for whatever reason, the city says no, and we don't want to lose our permit to be able to do this and raise money. So the next page is important. Fireworks purchased at a stand within the city of Santa Maria must be used within our city. If you are in Orcutt, you're technically not allowed to use fireworks purchased in the city of Santa Maria because the city of Santa Maria is not Orcutt. That's actually Santa Barbara County unincorporated. So the city limits are found on the website, and we will get all the notices and all the bags like it says here, and we'll have all the signage taken care of. But if someone asks you, hey, can I use these fireworks in Orcutt? Or if we get a lot of traffic that's just driving through, stopping at Chick-fil-A as they drive from LA to San Francisco, because we're right there. Like you coming off Betaravia trying to get a meal, we are that first booth right there. So we get a lot of traffic, and people are like, yeah, I'm on my way from LA to go here. Can I buy fireworks? And I'll just say, they must be used within our city limits. And they say, can I use them in LA? And I'll just say, they must be used within our city limits. And they say, can I still buy them? And I'll say, well, they must be used within our city limits. And then whatever they do from that point, they can do. I would love to sell them fireworks, and I will sell them fireworks, but they must be used within our city limits. So that's our answer. Fireworks use, the next page, per the Safe and Sane code, it is July 4th between 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. only. Obviously, we've heard them for the past month already. But technically, it's between 11 and 11 on July 4th. So if people ask you, can I use these before July 4th? Or if they come back and say, I used all the fireworks that I bought earlier this week, can I buy more? And we just, okay, here you go. The hours of use handout must be provided with each sale. So in our booth, you'll have bags stapled to the counter, and each bag will have this information in there. Just make sure as you're putting the fireworks in the bag that it has those things in there. Those papers, if for some reason they don't, we'll have an extra stack of papers in the booth you can stick into that bag. They must be in English and in Spanish, which will be printed on the thing. Next page, our permit conditions. Typically, we get a first violation warning, a second violation suspension for 24 hours, and a third violation revocation of the permit and removal from the fireworks booth program. Next page, we have to get our stand inspected, and we'll take care of all that. You don't have to worry about it. We will make sure everything's good to go for you. And everyone working in a stand must be instructed on the conditions of the fire department, permit, and safety rules. This is why we're here. Because if you're not, then we get warned. If 2 people aren't, then we get suspension. And then if 3 people aren't, we get revocation of the program. So thank you for being here so that we can continue to do this. I know there are more fun things you could be doing right now, but I appreciate you making the extra effort this morning. Next one. If you're a smoker or if you know a smoker, first of all, that's bad for your health. Please don't. And second of all, it's usually not an issue with our volunteers. However, you will have people that walk up to a booth full of explosives with people working inside of it who are just like trying to buy their fireworks. And to their credit, they're just thinking they're outside, they're in a ventilated space. They're not trying to do anything weird or blow people up. But the city has a very good hard rule about smoking in the vicinity of the stand. So 50 feet. If you see someone smoking, ask them to step back 50 feet. If they don't comply, you can let your shift leader know. And shift leaders, if they don't comply, we call the police immediately. More so just for safety. Could they be 49 feet away and everyone's still fine? Yeah, probably. But just for safety, let's be extra careful. We don't want anyone blowing up this week. And we'll post the signs for you. Don't worry about that. There's your issues if you have people smoking within 50 feet of the stand. They're pretty, we don't even get a third strike. It's 2 strikes and you're out. The next one, possession, use, or under the influence of alcohol or drugs by a person working in a stand. I don't think I'm not anticipating any of us to show up to the booth under the influence of alcohol or drugs. However, this also applies to prescription medication, which is a much more common thing. So pretty much if your bottle says do not operate heavy machinery on it for whatever medicine you're taking, please wait until that medication wears off before you show up for your shift. So if you need to move some shifts around, if that's you, that's totally fine. We can do that. We can do that here today. But the city of Santa Maria doesn't want anything that's any impairments for whatever reason, even if it's prescription meds, which makes sense. You're in a booth full of explosives, so that's a good idea. The next one, just the penalties if we do, and then no people under the age of 18 can be in the stand for any reason at any time. So when you're going to clock in and clock out, if you need something, just come to the window. We'll pass stuff to you, or we'll just come out and hang out with you outside. And there's your penalties for people under 18 being in the stand first, second, and third violations. Next, the city would not like us to sell fireworks to anyone under the age of 16. And if you are unsure where they look under the age of 16, ask for ID. If you really want to make people's day and they look underneath 30, ask them for ID. And everyone who's between 17 and 30 will be very happy that you asked them for their identification. If they don't have ID, then there's no sale. And it's got to be a state-issued ID. A school ID does not count. It's got to be 16 is the age to drive, and so most people have driver's licenses or a permit or something like that by that age. If you delayed your driver's license process and you don't have an ID like that, sorry, we can't do anything about that. So no ID, no sale, and there's your things for first and second violations. You don't have to be the ID police, right? And kind of scan the barcode on the back or really investigate it. If they show it and it looks good, great. Next one. Yes, Nancy. Yes. Thank you for calling that out, Nancy. That's very good wisdom, and nothing much to add to it. Just to repeat it for those who didn't hear it on the cameras, not through their microphone. If someone who is under 16 has a parent with them and they buy fireworks together, you've got to give the bag to the adult, not the kid. That's the way it goes. Okay. All of the fireworks on the next page are going to be registered to the state of California as safe and sane, and so TNT takes care of all that for us. If you brought an illegal stash from wherever and you decided you wanted to sell them out of the back of the fireworks booth, just please don't. Sell them somewhere else. We can't have unregistered fireworks. They have to have the seal, and if for whatever reason, this is not going to be a problem, but I just have to say, if for whatever reason we have illegal fireworks in there and we get caught, we're just done. So the state really, and the city really is trying to crack down on fireworks booth. In fact, I just saw the KSBY article that said the city is cracking down on fireworks booth. It's the same article from every year, but they're cracking down this year too. Okay, sales to a person underneath 16. Oh, wait, nope, that's the wrong page. Going this way. We need to maintain a 25 feet fire nuisance or fire hazard buffer between the stand and any of the things that are listed here. So no parking within 25 feet, no trash within 25 feet, no dry vegetation within 25 feet. So we're going to actually have these big, tall orange cones with red, white, and blue flags on them, and that's our buffer. So you'll see them around the back side of the stand. Pretty much, please don't park inside that buffer with the exception of the trailer. Can be inside that buffer because it's a vehicle that's not going to move in and out. What they're trying to avoid is hot engines being within the vicinity of the stand. The trailer is fine to be there. The other thing that is okay to be there is we'll have a trash bag that we keep inside the fireworks booth, not outside. And then any extra boxes that get broken down after we sell out of that box, we just stick back in the trailer. And then we break them down, stick them in the trailer, and then we throw them out here at the church dumpster at the end of the day. So if you don't park within the booth, and if you see anything that looks like a fire nuisance within 25 feet, just go move it, and that'd be great. Generators must be 25 feet from your stand. We don't use a generator. There is a electrical pole there that we plug into for all of our power and access to our Wi-Fi hotspot and things like that, and so I don't need to worry about that. But if you bring your own generator, you don't need to, but if you do, 1, 2, 3 violations for that. The next one, don't worry about the hasp and latch locks. That's irrelevant to us. The only thing we need to know is that the booth has this big old bolt that if you worked it before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that has to be locked at all times unless people are kind of coming in and out of the booth. So the only people, like during shift change or whatever. So you'll see a big old bolt. There's a hole in the door. You just stick the bolt through the door. That holds it closed and pretty much locks people out. It opens from the inside only. So, but that's how we lock it. And if for some reason there is a theft of fireworks, which there shouldn't be because our fireworks get stored safely in a trailer overnight and we won't have any issues with that. But for whatever reason, there's a theft, you're going to call the police department and tell them so that we can report that there's an issue so that we don't get in trouble. The fire department needs to know within 24 hours of the discovery of the theft. So it's not going to be an issue because we have our locked trailer, and during the day, no one is going to be so bold as to do anything crazy at the booth. That just doesn't happen. And if it does, then you call 911 and not the non-emergency line. So, and yeah, okay, next page is, got to report the theft. We'll do that for you. Don't worry about it. This is where fireworks are stored. We are TNT. Our fireworks are stored at the old Kmart location, which is now currently the U-Haul location. Don't worry about entering and exiting the storage facility. That is only relevant to our trailer drivers, and it does not matter. So the next 2 pages are irrelevant with the maps on them. And so is the one about the storage facility, exiting and entering. Also, the next page, the next one says illegal fireworks. Don't use them. All right, next page. They'll cite people who are using illegal fireworks up to $1,000. Again, they're trying to just emphasize the importance of not using those in our community. And it wants us to communicate all of these things to you. There is the website for more information. And good luck with your sales this year. If you need to call the fire department for any reason, the numbers are on the back. And there's your spot for your sermon notes today. So, okay, any questions about that? Didn't think so. Okay, students, at this point, if you would be so kind as to take this paper and a pen, fill it out with initial it, your name and signature, and date it. And if you're going to take off out of the room, just leave that with your parent. And if you're going to stay, just hang on to it. For the rest of us, the only other thing I want to brief you on is how we run the point of sale system at our fireworks booth. We do everything through an app called Square. And Square is it's kind of like a register. So every transaction, cash, card, check, etc., gets run through Square. All of our sales are in one place, which is really, really, really helpful. So here's how Square works. All of our iPads are going to have this program on it, and you'll see none of the fireworks are loaded up yet, but they will be. Their names and their pictures are going to be on it, as well as the price. And so what you're going to do is, let's say someone comes in, and let's imagine we had a firework that is called Study Bible. And we also had a firework called Cactus Journal. And they wanted to buy 1 Study Bible firework and 2 Cactus Journal fireworks. What you would do is you would tap Study Bible once, and you tap Cactus Journal twice, And then what it does on your right is it adds up your total, and then on the bottom right, it'll give you your total. So you can get a real time, if someone's like, how much am I at right now? There's your total with tax and everything included. When they're ready to go, you're gonna hit charge, and then you can either do cash card or, well, pretty much cash and card is the majority of the ways that we do this. If they give you $60, you can tap 60 and it'll count out your change for you. You can go to the cash box and give them change. Or if you do a card, there'll be little white card readers that are around the booth. You just stick their card in the associated card reader, and then it runs everything for you. It connects to our little Wi-Fi hotspot, goes to the internet, and then it approves or declines the transaction. Just important that if they have a security chip on their card, that it goes in the card reader and not the little swipey thing. The banks give us an issue if we had the ability to put it in a card reader, but we only swiped it. I guess card reading is a little more secure than swiping. So just put it in the card reader as often as you can. And they can even tap to pay on the little card readers. They can just go boop, and then it's good. There will be multiple iPads in the booth, and so you'll be multiple card readers. Each card reader corresponds with one of the iPads. So when you pick up the iPad, you'll see a little colored. If you need to go back, if they're like those people like me at a donut shop who's like, I want that one. Oh, wait, no, that one. No, right? And so if you need to, they put the study Bible in there and they decide they don't want the study Bible firework. All you do is you take your finger on study Bible and you swipe left and you hit delete and it goes away. Square will take care of all the taxes and stuff like that for you, so you don't need to worry about that. The only other thing to know really about Square is that there's two special cases. One is that we give discounts to to anyone who works for Toyota or Honda. They let us use their lot for free every single year. Some booths pay upwards of $2,000 to $3,000 for the week to the host of the booth. We get it for free. So the way we say thank you is we give them 15% off. And to do that, let's imagine that our discount was called iced coffee. You would just go in and tap your 15% off iced coffee discount, and on this, you're going to see it add up. But what it would do in real life is it would take all of that and do the math and deduct a 15% right then and there. So that's how you do discounts, super simple. If someone gives you a coupon, there's a QR code reader on each iPad. You'll get the QR code, you'll scan it, the reader, you'll scan it, that'll go to the internet, that'll take care of a lot of the stuff for you. But I'm not going to take too much time to explain that in depth right now, because it'll be way more helpful for you to just do it when you're actually there. If I say it now, it's going to be like, that doesn't make any sense. And so when you get out there and do it and you have a question, then we could figure it out there. But just know that there are TNT coupons and there are ways for us to run those. One of the things, friends, I believe so strongly is that first and foremost, we are a ministry first, and we operate like a business for this week second. And what that means is a lot of things, but what it means for the point of sale is that in every instance, our job is to help the customer get what they're looking for the lowest possible price. I'm not trying to upsell people. I'm not trying to do the sales tactics. I'd be happy to walk people through. I would love for them to spend more money. But I don't want to be that person who's like, well, if you spend $50 more, we'll give you 10% off. Well, if you spend $50 more, you're spending $50 more, even if it's 10% off, right? You know what I mean? So we're not doing any upsell tactics. We are a ministry. We are loving people. We're trying to get them what they're looking for the best deal for them. So how this typically works is people will come in and they'll be really excited about the stuff that's right up front. But in the back, there's all these big packages of older fireworks that they repackage and put in that box. They work just as well as the ones up front, but because they're in a big old box and a little bit older, they give folks a discount on those. They're trying to clear them out of their inventory. And what people do is they come to all the new ones up front, and they're like, I want that and that and that and that and that. And they buy them individually, and they'll get $300 bill for all these fireworks. But meanwhile, on the back shelf, there's comparable ones sitting in a box, and they might even get more for $150 or $175. In every instance, I will mention to the customer, hey, just so you know, you guys can get this for a lot cheaper by buying the one up there. And half the time, they're like, no, there's some real firework connoisseurs who know exactly which ones they like. To me, that sparkles and makes noise. I don't know what it does. But they might want the ones all up front, and some people are actually really grateful that you pointed out the ones in the back because they got so distracted by everything up front that they missed what was going on in the back. So let's be a ministry first and a business second, and never the other way around. If someone asks you, what does this one do? I don't know what they do. They're fireworks. They make noise, they light up, and they're cool. And so I'm not expecting us to know what everything does, but there is a little hack that helps each and every one of us figure it out. On the tag, the price tag for each firework, you will see 3 numbers. They're from 0 to 4, and the categories are color, noise, and height. 0 is the least intense of each category, and 4 is the most intense of each category. So if it's a 4 all the way around, that thing is going to be loud and big and crazy and wild. If it's, 001 or 010 or 020, then it's typically, not as intense of a firework. So you can kind of look at the codes, and you don't have to be able to describe to the customer what each one actually does, but you can just say, hey, check out these 3 numbers. These kind of help describe what the firework's about. This one looks like it's a 0 for sound, but a 4 for color, which means it's going to be really bright but not make a lot of noise. Sometimes people have pets or someone who's struggling with PTSD, and they want the real quiet ones, but they still want to do fireworks. And so we can direct them to those kinds of things. Again, we're ministry first. And so that's your guide. And so that'll be really helpful to be able to describe things. There is also a little QR code on each tag. If you want to scan with a QR code reader on the tag and then show what the QR code will link to is a video of that firework exploding from TNT's website. And so if they actually want to see it, you can show them. But most people, about 90% of the people, when you show them the number codes down there, they're like, okay, I got all that I need. Thank you for that. Lastly, and certainly not the least, is I want to introduce you to 3 people besides myself who are going to be really helping out this year. We call these guys our shift leads, and one of the 4 of us will be present at every shift. So if you have questions or need a problem solved or whatever, these guys don't necessarily know all of the answers yet, but they're your point person to help figure things out and to help equip you and support you, and they're kind of the final responsibility for the booth during the time of their leadership on that shift. So in the back, if you guys want to wave at Sam. Hi, Sam. Sam is in college, one of our young adults. She's on staff as an intern this summer for student ministry, and she also got back from Tijuana 12 hours ago, and so thank you for being here. She'll be there for a quarter of the shifts this week, and we'll be able to help you out with whatever you need. Over there at the table is Ryan. What's going on, brother? Ryan is jumping in with us this year. He's got experience doing fireworks booth over with Element Church. They do things a little bit different over there. But he's got some good experience with TNT and kind of knows what he's getting himself into. So good to have you there as well. And then up front is Debbie. Debbie's jumping in. She's got a kiddo that's coming into 7th grade, and Debbie is willing to help with whatever is needed. So and then myself, and then one of us 4 will be present for the entirety of the fireworks booth. If you have questions, just ask your shift lead, and if they can't figure it out, they'll call me, and if I can't figure it out, I'll call TNT, and we'll get it figured out for you. So they're your main people to talk to. Okay, I don't want to take any more of your time. As fun as I know this is to talk all through, I don't want to take any more of your time, but I do want to leave a space for questions if anybody has some before we go. Yes, Nancy. Yes. Yes, so let's say they buy all these things, and then you hit charge $74. What you're going to do, you're going to go up to the top right where it says split amount, and then you're going to do their first payment. Let's say they want to pay $30 on their first amount, and we're going to go, and then it says, well, 44 of 74 will remain after this payment. So you're going to 30, and then continue, and at this screen is the point where if you have a card, you would tap it, and then it would process, or you would get cash for $30, and then you'd move on. So the top right, split amount, and that takes care of that process. Great question, Nancy. We do offer refunds for dud fireworks, stuff that doesn't blow up. TNT will credit us back for that. So if someone comes to the return and they're like, this didn't work, what we don't accept is fireworks that you look at it and like, that's just used. right? That just looks like it's empty. But if it still looks like it's full and just like, but just the fuse is burned, that means it was probably a dud, and we will take those back. So, yes, Kirsten. We are not open on the 5th. It means they have used it outside of the window that they were supposed to use it. Yeah. Yep. Anybody else? Yes, Jen.
So you mentioned Adventure 7, so could this 6th graders booth or no? Is 7th grade enough?
If you have a 6th grader that wants to, so technically from our perspective, as soon as you finish school, you're 7th grade. So to answer your question, yes, anyone who's coming into 7th grade is welcome to come into the fireworks booth as well. And if you're trying to apply this money to Adventure 7, which the deadline is July 6th, you can also do that. You will be credited in time to be able to do that. Okay, that is all for me. The 2 last things before you go, if you could just make sure I get this with your name on it. If I don't get it, and if you're watching online later, this is going to be copied in the email that we sent you. I need you to print this out and bring this with you before your first shift, because we need to have this from everyone before they start their first shift. Once we have this, you're good to go. And so there's that. And then if you would like to come up and take a look at shifts, I will leave this available. And you can just come and you can claim as many as you would like of the open spaces and have fun with it. Or take your name off of something you need to take your name off of. That's totally fine. So just go to town with it. Let me just say a quick prayer for us, and then we'll be done for today. Father, thank you. Thank you, as evidenced in Mexico just 2 days ago as we handed over keys to a family that was in need. Father, I'm grateful for the way you use this fireworks booth to multiply your kingdom, to make your name more famous, and to meet the needs of people in our community, in our church, and around this world. And so I pray that you would continue to do that with this year's fireworks booth, that not only would it benefit the individuals who are serving to be able to go to camps and do the things, but also that they would see the greater perspective here, that the money also goes to funding ministry of all kinds in all different ways. And so, God, thank you. We pray that whatever comes in money-wise this year is exactly what you want it to be, and trust that you are sovereign over that. And we just also ask for your hand of protection and safety on all hours of the operation of this booth, from the kids by the street to the people in the booth and everything in between. We just ask that you would be sovereign over all of it, just like we know you are. Thank you for this crew being willing to jump in and do this ministry for your glory. We pray things in your name. Amen.